We are well aware that elections do have consequences,
Right.
not just in the present time, but
Mhm.
also in the future.
Yep.
What do you think the masses should look for in a potential candidate for any position in power?
What a good question. I recently tweeted and I said that we should set up a system in Africa whereby no one should take any position of power without being cleared by a therapist. That's point number one. When you think about it, because, man, how is it possible that we have we have people who come into positions of power promising things, and at the end of the day, the moment they get those positions, they just change eventually? However, to also the voters, I think there is a mistake that people do. Some are voting for looks, some are voting for how someone popular is, some are voting because they knew the father of the guy or woman standing for that position. I think that is wrong. I think people should start looking at the fundamental points. Like, how is that person that is standing for that position going to impact your life? Not only today, but in the future. People should stop assuming that when you vote someone for 5 years, their impact stops only at 5 years. No. The impact of someone that you elect into any position of power goes way beyond 5 years. It goes to your children or even your grandchildren, because the decisions they make, they shape the future that is to come. Do you get what I'm saying? And so that is point number two for me. People should look for those, should vote for those that have their best interests at heart. So I encourage people to listen to who is standing for that position that that they want to take. So listen to that person. And the other thing is, we have also this issue, especially, let me use Uganda. These days, politicians are coming with ambulances. They're coming with, gifts.
Ambulances.
Ambulances. And they don't even have to say anything. Somebody comes with an ambulance and they vote him. But we also know that he has brought an ambulance in a society that does not have a hospital. And if they do have a hospital, that hospital does not have medication. And there is medication, that hospital has less healthcare workers. And if they're there, those healthcare workers are less paid. Do you get what I'm saying? But because you have not pushed these candidates to push farther than providing gifts, even when they stand, they do not think about it, and so they do not present it. And when they do not present it, you don't have options to look at when you're choosing a person. So it goes back to the voter. Push the people that you want to be in those positions of power, but push them by listening to them. Are their ideas helping you or the future of your children?
So, what do you think about looking at their track records, especially for somebody who has already ran for a position of power?
Exactly. Bro, I feel like that is really important. And again, it also still goes back to the voters. How many times has that person you voted for in that position, maybe in parliament, stood up and spoke for you? How many times has that person probably came back to the society that voted him or her into that position and engaged with them and literally cares to know what's really happening in that community? So when you're looking at the track record, accept what you find and make a decision right away. This assumption of thinking that somebody's going to change if you vote for them again, I believe it doesn't work. We have a lot of sick people into positions of power. That is why some of them are perceiving intimidation as leadership. Some of them are perceiving corruption as a new religion. Like, how is it possible that somebody can steal almost every year and somehow the president who appointed that person in that position lets him stay there? Or if he removes him from that position, it just gives him or her another ministry. How is it possible? How is that person? How can you lie to me that that person is not sick?
The recycle ministers.
Yes.
Interesting.
It's like they are recycling corruption. You are not changing. You are not removing the problem. You are transferring the problem
to another department.
And so we have a lot of mental health problems in the politics, especially of Africa.
The last question I want to throw at you is, I feel like the African leaders, they're entitled to their position rather than seeing it as a privilege given by the people and be honored to serve the people.
A lot of ignorance in our society, and bad leaders thrive in an ignorant society. If the society that you're leading is ignorant, the possibility of you making them submit to your stupidity is high. But if someone gets to know that you being in that position is you giving them service, then they would know it is their right to demand for better service. But because a lot of people don't know that freedoms and rights, or like freedom is a right, it goes back to having leaders that are entitled. Sometimes these days, like I said recently, that they're just electing people on reasons that are not fundamental. So how do you expect somebody you voted because they came and danced in front of you, or because they came and gave you an ambulance, or because they came and knelt down for you, or because they came with kilograms of sugar or rice, to not feel entitled? Because by now they know that your vote is only worth a bar of soap. They know that your vote is only worth a kilogram of sugar. And so that they know that the next time the elections are going to come, they're going to come back with the same thing. And then before you know it, they'll make it hard for you to approach them, to see them. That is why, have you never asked yourself why it is very difficult for our people, the civilians, to see and engage their leaders? Because these people feel like they own the whole world. It's because none of them, or most of them, do not know the definition of service to the people. Most of them believe that because they are in that position of power, then it means to push whatever narrative that they want, even if it does not help society. Again, I'll throw it back to the people. No one is going to come and save you. You want a better life? You want better politicians? You want a better system? You have to stand up for yourself. If you don't do that, then of course you are going to keep complaining. And whenever you do, complaining alone does not help. You have to make moves that will help trigger the minds of these ignorant leaders that we sometimes get, or that we most times get, to step up and do their jobs. I keep saying that Africa is a third world continent, not because we lack resources to foster growth, but because we have a lot of politicians with a third world mindset.